MPs simply do not care. Honestly, it's unbelievable. They really don't give a shit about you or I. It's laughable if it wasn't so serious. They throw the fact that there is one rule for us and one rule for them in our faces more and more as time goes on. How on earth do they get away with it? Well, they get away with it because the general public are in a trance. A media/television-induced trance. And it's only going to get worse now the Premier League started. They are asleep. I really fear for the 20-somethings of this world. They're just a bunch of phoners as far as I can tell. A phoner, if you don't know, is somebody who just stares at their phone all day, every day. It's ridiculous. They live their life through their phone and not through reality. Look at this article in the Tory graph. Jeremy Hunt, NHS bosses face jail over links to drug firms. Senior medical staff will be forced to declare all gifts and hospitality they receive from drug companies or face the sack or the threat of jail. In a major crackdown on corruption in the NHS, all hospitals and GP groups will be required to keep a register of hospitality and gifts from pharmaceutical firms to health service staff. Jeremy Hunt, the Health Secretary, says he was forced to act after the Telegraph uncovered disturbing evidence of senior NHS managers being paid thousands of pounds and taken on expensive trips by firms lobbying to get their drugs used. Now, unless you're completely, utterly stupid, you will know that the practice of bribing doctors has been going on for years. And it's not just doctors. Remember former MP Malcolm Rifkin? Apparently he was a sir, which puts him in the potential paedophile category. Don't know that he is, but he is a sir and he is old. But remember him? Well, he received thousands of pounds a month to grease the skids for a medical company to get a contract despite being £7 million more expensive than the cheapest bid. But whilst Jeremy Hunt lauds about NHS bosses getting gifts and money from drug companies, Jeremy Hunt himself received £32,920 from hedge fund manager Andrew Law, who is a major investor in healthcare firms. Who would have thought it, huh? In fact, there are 70 MPs who are taking bribes from drug companies or have interests in drug companies doing well. Is Jeremy Hunt going to throw himself in prison? I doubt it. Or will he throw the Prime Minister in prison for handing a peerage to nursing and care home tycoon Dollar Popat, who's given the Tories over £200,000 in donations? I very much doubt it, don't you? So whilst Jeremy Hunt says with that smirky little Tony Blair grin that he's always wearing, when he says that he will jail NHS bosses for taking bribes, MPs are allowed to get bribes without any recourse. MPs prove again that they are the scum of the earth. Well done, MPs, as if we didn't know that already. And they wonder why people want something different. They wonder why they're opting for something other than the same old, same old. Here are a few highlights of what MPs took what from the drug companies. David Davis, remember him? Former Shadow Home Secretary. He received a payment of £4,250 for a 6-hour speaking engagement for a private health insurance company. Ian Duncan Smith, well, he has shares in a hygiene technical company that works for the NHS. Michael Fallon, Defence Secretary. He was a former director of Attendo AB, a Swedish private health company. Liam Fox, he was my MP once, Liam Fox, former Defence Secretary, received £5,000 from investment company IPGL Limited, who purchased healthcare pharma company Cyprotex. William Hague, remember little short trouser William Hague? Well, he received a £20,000 donation from MMC Ventures, which part owns the Practice plc, which runs 60 GP surgeries. Philip Hammond, Foreign Secretary, beneficiary of a trust which owns a controlling interest in healthcare and nursing home developer Castlemead Limited. Oliver Letwin, Former Shadow Chancellor was a non-executive director of N.M. Rothschild's Corporate Finance Limited, which invests heavily in healthcare. Andrew Mitchell, the pleb Andrew Mitchell, former International Development Secretary, was a strategic advisor to global management firm Accenture, which has worked extensively with private healthcare companies and the NHS. Priti Patel, plastic as they come, worked for lobbying firm Weber Sandwick, which does PR for big healthcare firms and pharmaceutical firms. Andrew Tyree, Select Committee Chairman, attended the Ryder Cup as Secretary of the Parliamentary Golf Society, with travel and accommodation paid for by US healthcare services company Humana Europe. Tim Yeo also attended the 2008 Ryder Cup, courtesy of Humana Europe. Vince Cable received a donation of £2,000 from Chartwell Care Services, which is 100% owned by Chartwell Health and Care plc. It also owns Chartwell Private Hospitals plc, which provide day case surgery to NHS patients. And last but not least, for now anyway, Nick Pleb, former Deputy Prime Minister and General Muppet. He received a donation to his constituency office for £5,000 from Alpha Medical Consultancy. This type of open hypocrisy will continue until the phoners get it. Until the phoners come out of their trance and start dealing with reality and not a 4-inch by 2.5-inch screen, which, by the way, isn't reality. Until they get it, MPs are laughing at us, and they are laughing bloody harder and harder as the days go by.